हरे कृष्णा प्रभु महाराज, दंडवत प्रणाम। हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Gurudev Sri Prabhupada. Hi. So I think we are waiting a few more minutes for others to join.
You can start.
Pardon me?
As I said, we are live now, so you can start.
Okay.
Unless if you want to wait for a few of the students to join, but
Yeah, I see only see 4 faces or 3 faces. I see 3 students. Anyway, we'll start. Omagyanatimirgasya Gyanagyanashalakaya Chakshuramalaytam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Snapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunastambitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Veda Bhakti Tirtha Swami Iti Namini Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Asri Tatmane Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tetreti Namini Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvise Sasunyavadi Pasachade Satarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauratize Namaha Nityanando Vatutendo Vasoda Pranavala Baha Janaviri Jivita Patir Krishna Prema Pranda Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Srimam Sachirananda Purvajaha Bhavam Mata Jagat Rakta Rakta Gora Kalevaraha Advaitam Harinadvaita Racharyam Bhakti Shamshanat Bhaktavataram Itam Sham Advaita Acharya Ashvaye Panchatattvamakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktu Shantikam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajagraye Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagar Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Madirgati Masar Vasra Padam Pujo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vindaranya Kalpadurmada Srimad Vanacari Simhasanastav Sri Sri Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishyani Bisevya Manosmarami Srimam Rasa Rasaram Vivam Sivata Tatastita Karusan Venusvanai Gopi Gopinata Sri Estunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarvam Lakshmi Mai Sarvam Kanti Samohini Paraha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam lagayate grim Nyar Kripatamahan Vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandala Karam Vyaptayina Characharam Tapadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So everyone is welcome to today's discussion. I think we are discussing the last verse, right? Text 11. Am I right?
Yes, Myra.
Yeah, we treated 9 and 10 last week. So we have text 11 to discuss. So, Sonika Prabhu can share the screen. Okay, so text 11 says, Tanaya Vasita Prayasibhyo Piradha Kundam Jasya Munibir Abitas Tadrik Iva Vidya Dai Ya Prashtaya Piyalam O Asulambam Kim Purna Bhakti Bhagam Tat Premedam Shakrit Api Sharas Natur Avish Karoti. Translation. Of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable damsels of Brajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And in every respect, her divine kund is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha-kund is very rarely attained even by great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. So, Srila Rupa Goswami began his nectar of instruction, Upadeshamrita, with the prerequisites for becoming a Goswami. In other words, Rupa Goswami gives this book, Upadeshamrita, Sri Upadeshamrita, for already practicing devotees. This is not for people who are not yet into Krishna consciousness. It's not for those who are not conversant with the subject matter of Krishna consciousness. This Upadeshamrita is for the practitioners of Krishna consciousness who want to advance further on the path of Bhakti. So therefore, Rupa Goswami begins with the prerequisites for becoming a Goswami. And the reason is to achieve the ultimate goal, which is Krishna Prem, love of Godhead. These prerequisites are required. So Rupa Goswami opens the book with the prerequisites, and he concludes the book with the prayojana, the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness is to be a lover of Krishna. But one cannot be a lover of Krishna without Radharani's mercy. Radharani is the gatekeeper of the love of Godhead. Radharani is the storehouse of the love of Godhead. So anyone who wants to experience the love of Godhead, he must pass through Radharani's mercy garden. He has to get the mercy of Srimati Radharani in order to experience this bhava, this prema. Therefore, Rupa Goswami opens the book, starts the book with the prerequisites for becoming a Goswami. And once one has become a Goswami by practicing the Sri Upadeshamrita, then one can achieve the ultimate goal, which is love of Godhead. So Radha-kund is the embodiment of that love of Godhead. That is the speciality of Radha-kund. Radha-kund is the arboreal lake where all the very, very intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna took place. So therefore, this lake is of paramount importance to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Other Vaishnavas are not aware of the importance of this lake. But the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have come to understand the importance of Radhakund. And therefore, we study the literature that talks about this very exalted place. So we can look at the slides. We have some number of slides. Sanika Prabhu can share with us, yes. So the next slide says, why is Radhakund so exalted? The lake is so exalted because it belongs to Srimati Radharani, who is the most beloved object of Sri Krishna. Among all the gopis, she is the most beloved. Similarly, her lake, Sri Radhakund, is also described by great sages as the lake that is as dear to Krishna as Radha herself. Indeed, Krishna's love for Radhakund and Srimati Radharani is the same in all respects. Radhakund is very rarely attained, even by great personalities fully engaged in devotional service, not to speak of ordinary devotees who are only engaged in the practice of Vaidhi Bhakti. It is said that just as Govardhan is an extension of Krishna or an expansion of Krishna, Radhakund is an extension of the body of Radharani. Radhakund is an expansion of the love Radharani has for Krishna. So Radhakund is not different from Radharani. Anything that is attributed to Srimati Radharani can also be attributed to the Haikund. Krishna Leela Stala Govardhana Shrestara Radhakund Shrestama Sarva Shakti Dara. Of all the places of Krishna's pastimes, Govardhan is superior to everywhere else. And the best spot on Govardhan is Srimati Radhakund. So glorious is this Kund that just by seeing the Kund, one is purified. What to speak of bathing in the Kund, touching the waters of the Kund, one is purified. Even simply by hearing the glories of the Kund, by hearing the glories of the Kund, one's life becomes fortunate. So Radhakund is such an important place in the life of the Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And so great devotees, they took shelter of Radhakund. Great devotees, they stayed by Radhakund. So every blessed day they will see Radhakund. So that is why Radhakund is so exalted. It's as exalted as Radharani. Just as Radharani is the most lovable object of Krishna, Radhakund is also a lovable object of Krishna. We cannot separate Radhakund from Radharani. They are inseparable. So Radhakund is very exalted. And so when we approach Radhakund, we should approach her with great reverence. It is said that the first time Srila Prabhupada took some disciples, some Western disciples, to Radha Kund, some of them they jumped into the waters of the Radha Kund and began to splash water on each other and was swimming frivolously, and Srila Prabhupada stopped them. He said, Radha Kund is not meant for swimming. It is meant for purification, is meant for spiritual advancement. So you should dip yourself gently and come out. You don't jump inside and start splashing water and start swimming up and down. No, that's not the mood. The mood is you offer prayers to Srimati Radharani, offer prayers to Hekun, go down gently, and submerge yourself in the water 3 times, and you come out. That's enough. So, Radha Kund is meant for a purification of the living entity. It is meant for awarding love of Godhead to a living entity. And therefore, it should be seen as such. One should not go to Radha Kund, one should not approach Radha Kund with the mentality of swimming like an ordinary river. No, Prabhupada is allowed that. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I just want to ask that if we go in yatra to Radha Kund, but they don't, they just tell us to do the achman.
Yes.
Do the achman.
Yeah, because devotees' tendency is to take things for granted, that like it's just a body of water you can swim. I joined the yatra in I think 2000 or maybe 2002. I joined the Radha Gopinath yatra in Vrindavan with Maharaj. When we got to Govardhan, we got to the Radha Kund. He permitted us. Actually, he said that the Guru must permit you. You can't just jump into the water by yourself. You have to seek the blessings of the Guru before you enter Radha Kund. So Radha Maharaj permitted us. He said, but he told us, you can't just jump inside like an ordinary river and just swim about. Say there are steps leading down. So you go step by step, and submerge yourself, immerse yourself 3 times. First, you pay obeisances, you take your Amrita, you put the water on your head. Then if you want to dip yourself, you can do that. But you go gently down, dip yourself 2-3 times, and you come out and pay obeisances. You don't jump inside and start swimming around. No. So, but sometimes when you go there, you see the residents of Radha Kund, they're just playing around in the water. You see them. They don't even value that water so much. But according to what Prabhupada left behind, he said devotee should not just splash around in the water like just an ordinary body water. You're playing games of swimming. No. You dip yourself gently, reverentially. You dip yourself, and then you come out. The best thing is just to take achaman, pay obeisances, and you're done. Just by touching the water, it is a great boon to come in touch with that Radha Kund. So if your spiritual master permits you, you can dip yourself and come out. Now, if it does not permit, then you just do achaman and then you come out like that. Next slide, Prabhu. Sanika Prabhu. Taking bath in Radha Kund as many times as possible. It is stated that a devotee will at once develop your love of Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes a bath in Radha Kund. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radha Kund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is a most important item in the execution of devotional service. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in this connection that Sri Radhakund is the most selected place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, Shakis, and confidential serving maids, Manjaris of Srimati Radharani. Living entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Goloka Vrindavan, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, Sita Deha, should live at Radhakund, take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha, and under their direction, engage constantly in her service. This is the most exalted method for those engaged in devotional service under the protection of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, here it is mentioned that one can develop, I was reading the thing, it says that one should bathe as many times as possible. One should live on the banks of the Kund, of Radha Kund, and one should bathe there as many times as possible. So if that's what Rupa Goswami is saying, then why are the Acharyas saying that one should not just bathe there on his own? So the fact is that even this bathing as many times as possible actually means rendering service. One can render service to Radhakund as many times as possible. One can clean Radhakund. One can speak about Radhakund. One can help others to know about Radhakund. So there are many different types of services one can render to Radhakund. And that service is equal to taking a bath in Radhakund every moment, every day. So therefore, some acharyas say that instead of becoming too familiar with the waters of Radhakund, one can render service to Sri Radhakund. And that is the better option, by which one does not become too familiar with the waters, with the lake, and become offensive. So, to bathe in Radhakund many times actually means to render service many times. So if we can render some service to Radhakund from wherever we are, then it's also considered that we are taking a bath in Radhakund. One can contribute for the cleansing of the Radhakund area. One can support the development of Radhakund. So in whatever way it's possible to support Radhakund, it is a service to Radhakund. And by such service, one makes progress. So it's not the physical contact alone with the waters of Radhakund that is considered bathing. Reading about Radhakund, speaking about Radhakund, cleaning Radhakund, they are all considered divine. And anyone can participate in such a divine activity. And one can get the full benefit of Radhakund just by performing these activities. So, in the absence of that, we also have some tilak from Radhakund, some water from Radhakund. We can also add that to our drinking water, add that to our bathing water. And we can extend Radhakund's mercy to our country. And we can carry the particles of Srimati Radharani. And then if we can get hold of the water of Radhakund or the tilak of Radhakund, we are also in touch with Radhakund. In fact, it said that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he first went to this Radhakund, he actually smeared himself with the mud of Radhakund before he took a bath in it. So, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did that, it is understood that the tilak or the mud from Radhakund has the same effect as the waters of Radhakund. So, if one happens to get the tilak of Radhakund or the water of Radhakund, he can still get a full benefit of touching such tilak or touching such water. Radhakund Mahima to Korea Sravana, Lalayita Hoye Ami Pradibo Takana. Hearing the glories of Sri Radhakund and yearning to go to Radhakund is necessary for the sadhakas. The sadhaka must hear the glories of Radhakund, and by hearing the glories of Radhakund, one should yearn to go to Radhakund. If one has that yearning, that strong desire to go to Radhakund, then Radhakund can manifest in his life. So, Radhakund plays an important role in a devotee's life, because Radhakund, anywhere we come in touch with Radhakund, facilitates our love for Krishna. Just as Srimati Radharani facilitates our love for Krishna, her dear Kund also facilitates our love for Krishna. So somehow or the other, we must come in touch with Radhakund. Next slide. Okay. The rarity of Sri Radhakund. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes that even great sages and great devotees like Narada and Sanaka do not get an opportunity to come to Radhakund to take their baths. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? If by great fortune one gets an opportunity to come to Radhakund and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna. And one should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Sri Radha and her gopi assistants. If one is thus constantly engaged during his lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Radha in the same way as he contemplated during his life on the banks of the Kund. So, Bhakti Siddhanta is advising
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. I don't know where the trouble is coming from. Whether it's Prabhu's internet is weak or something.
No, it's from the end.
Is that?
It's the network problem.
Our network, okay. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta is advising that one should live on the banks of the Radhakund and should absorb in the loving service of the Lord. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Sri Radha and her gopis. If one is thus constantly engaged during this lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Radha in the same way as he contemplated during this life on the banks of the Radhakund. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta is recommending here that one should live on the banks of Radhakund, and one should render service to Radharani on the banks of Radhakund. One should take daily bath at Radhakund, and one should, in this way, make advancement. And at the end of this life, one will return to the spiritual world. So Radhakund is linked up with the spiritual world. Radhakund is linked up with Radharani, Radharani is linked up with the spiritual world. So anybody who has anything to do with Radhakund also has something to do with Radharani. And anybody Radharani favors will get a favor of Krishna. So therefore it is said that we should pray to Radharani for his mercy. And as soon as Radharani is pleased with us, we will get Krishna's mercy. So therefore, by residing on the banks of Radhakund and by glorifying Radhakund, one can get the mercy of Krishna. So that is the advice from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Even though he mentioned that exalted personalities like Narada and Sanaka, they are desiring to live on the banks of Radhakund, but they are not getting the opportunity to do that. Next slide. Somebody likes to read this?
Hare Krishna. No limit to the glory of Sri Radhakund. The conclusion is that to live on banks of Radhakund and to bath there daily constitute the higher perfection of devotional service. It is a difficult position to attain, even for great sages and devotees like Narada. Thus, there is no limit to the glory of Sri Radhakund. By serving Radhakund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Sri Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. NOI 11.
Thank you.
Hare
There is
Krishna.
no limit to the glory of Sri Radhakund. By serving Radhakund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant to Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. So, by serving Radhakund, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant to Radharani, like the Manjaris and the Shakis. So in order to become a Shaki or a Manjari, an assistant to Srimati Radharani, all that you just need is render some service to Sri Radhakund. Prema Moga Nitya Kirtan Kulari Tantikam Snana Danya Vari Danya Bhumi Kunda De Sakam. Enwrapped in divine love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dancing and singing the glories of Krishna, approached the sacred pond of Sri Radhakund. He blessed the water of the paddy field by bathing in it and thereby revealing Radhakund to the well of devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he revealed Radhakund to the world. After Krishna left the planet, and after all his associates left the planet, the holy sites where Krishna performed his pastime were lost over the time, over the period. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered Rupa Goswami to go to Vrindavan and discover all the holy sites, all the holy places of Krishna Lila. And even though Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami were sent to Vrindavan by Lord Chaitanya, but they could not locate the place of Radhakund and Shyamkund. So when eventually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to visit Vrindavan, he personally went to Govardhan and revealed to the world Radhakund and Shyamkund. In his ecstasy, it was absorbed in divine love. In that divine ecstasy, he discovered this sacred kund. In his ecstatic consciousness, he discovered this kund. And so he began to glorify Radhakund over and over again. And he took his bath in that lake over and over again. Actually, he said the residents were amazed. Those who were witnessing that pastime, Lord Chaitanya bathing in the kund, they were amazed because the kunds were found in the middle of rice paddy fields. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the omniscient Lord, could understand that this is where he bathed 5,000 years ago. And so he made that place very important by revealing to the world that this is where Radha and Krishna had their most intimate relationships, intimate pastimes. So that there is no limit to the glory of Sri Radhakund. He said, just by seeing Radhakund, one's miseries are mitigated. Just by seeing Radhakund, one material existence comes to an end. One forgets about material existence. So therefore, it is a great fortune to have Radhakund revealed in this world. Next slide. Next slide, Salika Prabhu. Okay. The glories of Srimati Radharani, Queen of Vrindavan. Next slide. Okay, here is Srimati Radharani. So this is the song glorifying Srimati Radharani. Radhe Jaya Jaya Mandavadaite Gokulataruni Mandala Mahite. O Radha, O Madhava's beloved, O you whom all the young girls of Gokul worship, all glories unto you, all glories unto you. We can go to the next verse. Damodara Rati Vadana Veshe Hariniskuta Vrinda Vipanishe. Oh, you who dress yourself so as to make Lord Damodara love you more and more and more. O Queen of Lord Hari's pleasure grove of Vrindavan. Next. Vrishabhanudadi Navashashileke Lalita Shaki Guna Ramita Vishake. O new moon arising from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu, O friend of Lalita, O you whose virtues delight Vishaka. So Vishaka, Lalita, they are the constant companions of Srimati Radharani. So her dear friends, Lalita and Vishaka, they are always by her side. They are always giving her assistance. So their friendship is much cherished by Srimati Radharani. The next slide. Karunam kurumai, karunam bharite, sanaka sanatana, vanita charite. O most merciful goddess, O you whose divine qualities are sung by Sanaka and Sanatan Kumaras, O most merciful Radha, please have mercy on me. Karunam kurumai, karunam bharite, please have mercy on me. So this should be our meditation, always crying for Radharani's mercy. If we get a drop of Radharani's mercy, our lives shall be successful. The next slide. So the superior position of Srimati Radharani. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Anarayadito numnam Bhagavan Hari Ishwaraha. Yanno vihaya govinda pritoyam anayat radha. Certainly, this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of God in Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. So this was during the Rasa dance that Krishna disappeared from the Rasa stali, from where the dance is taking place. And the gopis noticed that Radharani was not there, Krishna was not there. So they began to glorify Srimati Radharani because it meant that she's so dear to Krishna, he's so attracted to Krishna that Krishna doesn't mind the rest of the gopis. So Radharani is so dear to Krishna that Krishna abandoned all the gopis, and then he goes to an isolated place to relish her pastimes with Radharani. So the gopis, they made this statement that this particular gopi has pleased Krishna so much that Krishna has abandoned all of them. And that is true. There is nobody who can please Krishna except Srimati Radharani. Nobody can challenge, nobody can equate the love of Srimati Radharani. In fact, sometimes Krishna is wondering, what kind of love does this devotee has for me? And because of that wondering, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to taste the divine love that Radharani has for Krishna. So, so we have to understand how exalted Radhakund is and how exalted Radharani is. That among the gopis, she's the most dear. Among the gopis, she's the one who can satisfy Krishna completely. In fact, Krishna cannot understand the depth of her love. And as a result, Krishna decided to come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to taste that love. So Radharani's position is very exalted, and so is her kund. Next slide. The super excellent quality of Srimati Radharani. Kama yamaha etasya Srimat Padaraja Shriyaha Kucha kunkuma gandhadyam mudina vodam gadabritaha. O saintly lady, we do not desire dominion over the earth, the sovereignty of the King of Heaven, unlimited facility for enjoyment, mystic power, the position of Lord Brahma, immortality, or even attainment of the kingdom of God. We simply desire to carry on our heads the glorious dust of Lord Krishna's feet, enriched by the fragrance of kunkuma from his consort's bosom. Hare Krishna. So the super excellent quality of Radharani is mentioned here. Hare Krishna.
All right, I'm thinking maybe probably we can take it about 5 or 10 minutes. It's 1 hour into the class. We take 5 or 10 minutes class, and 5 or 10 minutes break. Then
Yeah,
we'll
actually,
continue.
I'm tired from yesterday. I'm tired. I'm tired, but if I don't finish it today, next weekend is another busy weekend. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yesterday, too many things happened, and
Yeah.
so we can
It's like 5, 10 minutes.
have some
Then we
5
come.
minutes. I just stretch and come back. I'm tired. I'm dozing off. I don't know why. The body is reacting. So
Yeah,
you can play some bhajans. You can play some bhajans for 5 minutes. Let me just walk around and come back. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Dharma Lokana Hikakati Tirubane Manna Karana Karal
Oh, yeah, good afternoon. That is Sastri class. Doesn't matter. The teacher is tired. I feel I'm tired. I just want to let us do 10 minutes of break.
Lokana Hikakati Manna
Too much edit. No easy. I take idea. So I'm making money. Yeah. But it takes to do, Father. It takes to forgive me.
Dharma
I forget, yes.
Samastapakal Lokana Hikakarinam
Oh,
Manna Karana
oh, 2 months left. Tomorrow,
Lokana
I have a speech to give
Hikakati
at when it's done. When I be off for our Sunday class, our Sunday program. After that, I need to test for sleep for tomorrow.
Harvikarani
Supposed to go back to supposed to go to this guy.
Dharma Lokana
Yeah,
Radha Krishna Radha Krishna Radha Krishna Padaravinda
That's a bit difficult. So if for you to put what are we going to do now? Go ahead. So what do we need to do now? So what
Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So we can proceed. You are discussing something.
Okay, we will continue.
Okay, so we're looking at this slide. Super excellent quality of Srimati Radharani. Kama Yatmaha Etasya Srimat Pada Raja Sriha Kuncha Kunkuma Gandadyam Murdina Vudum Gada Britaha. O saintly lady, we do not desire dominion over the earth, the sovereignty of the King of Heaven, unlimited facility for enjoyment, mystic power, the position of Brahma, immortality, or even attainment of the kingdom of God. We simply desire to carry on our heads the glorious dust of Lord Krishna's feet, enriched by the fragrance of kunkuma from his consort's bosom. So this prayer is this this is a prayer by the Draupadis, when the queens of Krishna from Dwaraka met the Draupadi, they were asking how Draupadi is able to satisfy her 5 husbands. So this prayer was This prayer was offered by Draupadi, that actually is highlighting the position of Srimati Radharani. That's why the slide is entitled "The Super Excellent Quality of Srimati Radharani." The kumkuma coming from Srimati Radharani makes everything of Krishna fragrant. So it is said that Radharani's body has a special fragrance. And that fragrance attracts Krishna. And because of the fragrance of Radharani's body, anything that is associated with Radharani is also fragrant. So the kumkum or the kumkum powder Radharani uses also has that fragrance. And when Krishna touches that kumkum powder, it makes everything about Krishna very fragrant. So therefore, Radharani is so exalted that her body produces fragrance, and anything associated with Radharani is also full of that fragrance. And when Krishna touches the kumkum or touches anything related to Radharani, then his pastimes becomes very fragrant. So that shows how excellent Srimati Radharani is. That shows how Srimati Radharani influences Krishna. Actually, it is said that Srimati Radharani controls Krishna because she is the most beloved. Because she's the most beloved, whatever she wants, Krishna will do. And so it is said that if Radharani recommends a devotee, even if Krishna does not want to accept that devotee, and Srimati Radharani says, "Hey, Lala, see this devotee. He's trying so much for your pleasure. Please consider him." As soon as Radharani says a word about that devotee, Krishna will accept. So because of her excellence, her excellent qualities, she practically keeps Krishna under control. Just like a very loyal wife, a very dutiful wife, a very obedient wife controls her husband by her love, by her service, by her obedience. So similarly, Srimati Radharani controls Krishna by her deep, deep love, by her great affection. And Krishna, anything related to Radharani, Krishna cherishes it. Krishna cherishes that very much. So this is due to the super excellent qualities of Srimati Radharani. No other gopi can satisfy Krishna completely as Srimati Radharani. No other gopi has the transcendental qualities as Srimati Radharani has. Therefore, Srimati Radharani occupies a special place in Krishna's heart. And similarly, her Radhakund, her Kunda also is occupying a special place in Krishna's heart. We can look at the next slide, which is talking about the 25 qualities, 25 principal qualities of Srimati Radharani. 25 principal qualities of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani's 25 chief transcendental qualities are: 1, she's very sweet. 2, she's always freshly youthful. 3, her eyes are restless. 4, she smiles brightly. 5, she has beautiful auspicious lines. 6, she makes Krishna happy with her bodily aroma. So we mentioned that the fragrance of Radharani's body is special. 7, she is very expert in singing. 8, her speech is charming. 9, she is very expert in joking and speaking pleasantly. 10, she is very humble and meek. 11, she is always full of mercy. 12, she is cunning. 13, she is expert in executing her duties. So these are the first 13. The next line will tell us the next 12. But we can look at these qualities. She's very sweet. So Srimati Radharani is so sweet that Krishna is always hankering for association. When you have a sweet friend, when you have a sweet companion, a companion who always makes you happy, you are always in the company of such a companion. And you have a companion who is always criticizing you, always attacking you, always bringing out your bad side. You generally don't like the association of such a companion. So Srimati Radharani is sweet because she enhances Krishna's happiness. She's always seeking for Krishna's happiness. She doesn't seek her own happiness. She never seeks for her own happiness. She's always looking for opportunities to please Krishna more and more and more and more. So he enhances Krishna's pleasure. And that is why she is described as the Ladini Shakti, the pleasure potency of Krishna. Krishna Mayi Proktaradika Paradevata. Of all the expansions of the Lord, Srimati Radharani, she is the pleasure potency. And she knows how to satisfy Krishna completely. So therefore, Krishna is under the control of Srimati Radharani. She is always fresh and youthful. She is never Yovanam. Krishna is never Yovanam, Radharani is never Yovanam. They never age beyond 16. So Srimati Radharani is always youthful, always fresh. She dresses very nicely. She's attractive. She smiles nicely. And she enchants Krishna. And that's why she's called Mohini. Mohini, actually. What is it? What is the mantra? Mohini Kanta. What is the verse? I just recited the verse now and I can't remember again.
Yeah, sometimes when the body is tired.
I can't remember the verse again. I just recited it, but I can't remember it. It says, what is it? Devi Krishna Mahi Prokta. Devi Krishna Mahi Prokta. Radhika Para Devata. Sarva Lakshmi Mahi Sarvam Kanti Samohini Para. Kanti Samohini Para. Samohini Para. She possesses all the attractiveness She possesses all the attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. Radharani possesses all the attractiveness that she can attract the attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is described as all-attractive. Yet Radharani is able to attract the all-attractive. Therefore, she is Kanti Samohini Para. She has all the attractions, the features of attraction that attracts Krishna, who is described as the most attractive personality in the entire creation. So Radharani's position is very special. So we can go to the next slide for the last 12 chief qualities of Srimati Radharani. The next slide. Yeah, the next one, the 25 principal qualities of Srimati Radharani. We have seen the first 13, and these are the last 12. She is shy. She's always respectful. She's always calm. She is always grave. She is expert in enjoying life. She is situated at the topmost level of starting love. She is the reservoir of loving affairs in Gokul. She is the most famous of submissive devotees. She is very affectionate to elderly people. She is very submissive to the love of her friends. She is the chief gopi. She always keeps Krishna under her control. In short, she possesses unlimited transcendental qualities, just as Lord Krishna does. Srimati Radharani is a counterpart of, she's a female counterpart of Krishna. So whatever qualities are present in Krishna, same qualities are present in Srimati Radharani. But Radharani, she is very expert in pleasing Krishna. She surpasses Krishna by her expertise in pleasing Krishna. And because of that, he brings Krishna under control. So it says here, she always keeps Krishna under her control. That's the last quality. How does she do that? Because of all these qualities. Because of all these qualities, she's submissive, she's grave, she's respectful, she's always calm. She's the topmost level, she's situated at the topmost level of love of Godhead. She's the reservoir of loving affairs. She's the most famous of all the submissive devotees. She is submissive to the love of her friends. So in this way, Srimati Radharani, she captures Krishna's attention. So that is her special position. Next slide. Actually, these are like extra notes. They're like extra notes just to highlight the importance of Srimati Radharani's love. And that goes along to see the importance of her kund. Srimati Radharani's kund is as dear to Krishna as Srimati Radharani herself. So these extra notes, extra points, next slide, these extra points will help us appreciate Radharani and her kund. Glories of Srimati Radharani. Somebody like to read this?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Beg to offer my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet.
All glory to Guru Deva Vishnu Prabhupada. So you can read.
Okay. Sri Radha Thakurani possesses the highest elegance of style and beauty. She is the embodiment of devotional love, so much so that the intensity of her love is not understood by Krishna himself. Yet, if even once the name of Krishna enters into her ear, she immediately begins to tremble in emotion and completely loses her self-control. No one has the capacity to describe the ecstatic state of Srimati Radharani. She is desirous of chanting the name of Krishna with millions of mouths and hearing his name with millions of ears. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is Srimati Radharani's desire. She's desiring to chant Krishna's name million times with million mouths, and she's desiring to hear Krishna's name million times with million ears. So we can see the intensity of her love for Krishna. She has such intense love. And because of that, it is difficult for Krishna to even understand her degree of love. It's difficult. No one has the capacity to describe the starting state of Srimati Radharani's, the state of Srimati Radharani's. Even it says what? She is the embodiment of devotional love, so much so that the intensity of her love is not understood by Krishna himself. So it's interesting that there is something beyond Krishna. There is nothing beyond Krishna. Krishna knows everything. Krishna is Sarvagya. He knows past, present, and future. But here it is said that the embodiment of love, the intensity of her love is so deep that Krishna cannot understand. And because of that, Krishna has to come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, her mission was to taste, to experience Radharani's position. Radharani's love for Krishna is so deep, so vast, that Krishna cannot comprehend, Krishna cannot understand. So Krishna said, all right, let me take the position of Radharani, then I can understand the depth of love this devotee has for me. So therefore, he appeared in this world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Srimati Radharani. Gaurangi. She has a golden color. And that is the color of Srimati Radharani. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. That is Srimati Radharani. She has a golden color. And Lord Krishna came in that golden form, Gauranga. So there's a relationship between Gauranga and Gaurangi, Srimati Radharani, because Krishna wanted to understand the depth of her love. And so he came to taste it. And so we see in the last 6 years of his manifested pastime in this world, he was completely experiencing Divya Mada. Divya Mada means transcendental madness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the last 6 years, he was just crying. He was just crying. He cannot talk to anybody. It's just Ramananda Raya and Swarup Damodara. They were his companions. And then, of course, Govinda, his personal servant. They were the three people who always tried to console him, pacify him. But 24 hours, Mahaprabhu cannot sleep. He's experiencing Mahabhav, which is only experienced by Srimati Radharani. And so he's just crying, shedding tears, crying and crying and crying. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? That is Mahaprabhu. So he came, Krishna came in the form of Radharani just to experience what Radharani is experiencing as his lover. And so he experienced that. There's a prayer in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which was constantly recited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hey Deva, hey Daita, hey Bhuvanaika Bandhu, hey Krishna, hey Chapala, hey Karunaka Sindhu, hey Nata, hey Ramana, hey Nayam Bhima Rama, ha 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 Kandanu Bhavitashi Padam Drishume. Oh my Lord, oh dearest one, oh only my friend of the universe, oh Krishna, oh restless one, only ocean of mercy, oh my Lord, oh my enjoyer, oh beloved to my eyes, when will you again be visible to me? So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayer that he was reciting in the last 6 years on his earthly pastime Leela. He was just singing this song, where is Krishna, where is Krishna? Oh Krishna, oh my beloved, oh my life and soul, where are you? Where are you? That was how he actually disappeared from this earth. He was in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and she was tasting the nectar that Radharani was tasting as the topmost servant of Krishna, and he became intoxicated. He was in divine madness. He got lost with the world. Only 3 devotees could deal with him: Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, and Govinda. So that is the position of Srimati Radharani. She is such a dear devotee of Krishna, and therefore her Kund, Radha Kund, is also so dear to Krishna. Just as Radharani is dear to Krishna, her holy Kund, sacred Kund, is also very dear to Krishna. Next slide, Sanika Prabhu. And we have, this is the last one we saw, the next one. Okay. Narada witnesses the beauty of Srimati Radharani and faints and falls into trance. I wandered throughout the 3 worlds, but I've never seen such beauty as this. I've even seen the illusory energy personified, the goddess Parvati, but her beauty cannot be compared to even a fraction of that possessed by this little girl. You know, when Vrishabhanu discovered Srimati Radharani, the lotus flower, in a kund near his house, Raval. So she was so beautiful, she was so fragrant, but she was blind. So Vrishabhanu picked up this girl, blind girl, beautiful girl, fragrant girl, and went and offered her to his wife, Kritida. And they were wondering what to do with this blind girl. So at that point, Sri Narada appeared in the house of Vrishabhanu and revealed to them that this is the divine consort of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as soon as her beloved comes in close vicinity, her blindness will go. She doesn't want to see anybody else. So when Narada saw the beauty of Srimati Radharani, he was struck with wonder. He was struck. So that is what is being reported here. I wandered throughout the 3 wells, but I've never seen such a beauty as this. I've even seen the illusory energy personified, the goddess Parvati, but her beauty cannot be compared to even a fraction of that possessed by this little girl. So this was Narada's realization. He is a transcendental traveler. He travels through the spiritual worlds and he travels through the material worlds. So he has seen everything, but he has never seen such a beauty as that of Srimati Radharani. And so Radharani's beauty is special. That beauty is just for Krishna's pleasure. It is actually meant for Krishna's enjoyment, nobody else. And that is why she's called Ladini Shakti, the pleasure potency. Everything is in her just for Krishna's pleasure. Next slide. Narada witnesses. Okay, next. Krishna cries for Radharani. Last time, Nava Vrindavan had reminded him of the residents of Raj, especially Srimati Radharani, and those memories had distracted him from his mission. They strained his relationships and produced sleepless nights filled with feelings of loneliness. Just that night before, Queen Rukmini had sunk into despair when from sunset to sunrise, Krishna had woefully cried out Radha's name. Krishna's sorrow caused Rukmini great pain, but still Krishna could hardly reveal his feelings to her. So it is said that sometimes in Dwaraka, even though Krishna was surrounded by his 16,108 queens, but Krishna was not deriving as much pleasure as he used to derive from Srimati Radharani. Actually, all these queens are said to be expansions of Srimati Radharani. All the gopis are said to be expansions of Srimati Radharani. So while Krishna was in Dwaraka, some nights he would not sleep. He cried throughout the night. And Rukmini would just hear Krishna chanting Radha, 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 Radha in his cry. So Rukmini was very disturbed. What is happening to our husband? Why is he chanting Radha, 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 Radha? And why is he crying all night? So he has to ask Krishna, what is happening to you? And Krishna revealed his mind that I'm feeling so much separation from the Brihdibasis, the residents of Vrindavan. I'm feeling so much separation from them that I cannot compose myself, and particularly Srimati Radharani. Because Radharani is the eternal pleasure potency of the Lord. And even though all these queens are expansions, but she is the embodiment of all of them. So in this way, Krishna cries for Radharani. While in Dwaraka, Krishna is crying for Radharani. And so that points to the fact that Srimati Radharani is so dear to Krishna. She's so exalted that even though Krishna is surrounded by all these uplands of Dwaraka, by all these queens with so many children, each queen had 10 sons and a daughter. And each of the children also have 10 sons. Yet Krishna, he's crying for the association of the Vrajavasis, and especially that of Srimati Radharani. So Radharani is so dear to Krishna, and therefore her Kund is also very dear to Krishna. Next slide. Krishna longs to enter a wordless shelter. So Madhumangala and Uddhava were always full of loving concerns for Krishna. They understood his heart. But during times like this, Krishna could not even speak to them. He longed to enter a wordless shelter, a silent shelter that would soothe his heart. In search of such relief, Krishna left his palace and crossed the threshold of Nava Vrindavan. Perhaps his wise friends, the trees, could give him this help he so desperately needed. Unhappy, Krishna wandered throughout the pastures of Nava Vrindavan like a lovesick calf, searching, crying, and mumbling incomplete thoughts. So there is a place in Dwaraka called Nava Vrindavan. Because of this intense feeling Krishna has for the residents of Vrindavan, there was a need to create a new Vrindavan. Prabhupada named his farm community in America as New Vrindavan in Moundsville, West Virginia. New Vrindavan, that actually comes from Dwaraka. When Krishna was feeling so much separation from the residents of Vrindavan, they had to create another Vrindavan in Dwaraka, and that is called Nav Vrindavan or New Vrindavan. And all the things that are in Vrindavan were put there so that Krishna could feel happy visiting those places. So moments like this, when Krishna is feeling so much separation from Radharani, from the residents of Vrindavan, he would just leave his palace and he will go to this Nava Vrindavan, and there he will get he'll be pacified by the replica of Vrindavan in Dwaraka. So like that. Next slide. Krishna speaks about Radharani. Radha is like yellow kumkuma, anointing my body. He is a fragrant garland of champaka flowers around my neck. She is a golden ornament that soothes my eyes. If I must live separated from her, then let my life go to hell. I cannot continue to stay in a world with nothing more than memories of Sri Radha. So these are the words of Krishna when she is feeling the separation from Srimati Radharani. He speaks like this. The Radha is like a yellow kumkuma anointing my body. Your Radharani, her body is golden. So it says like a yellow kumkuma. She's a fragrant garland of champaka flowers around my neck. She's a golden ornament that soothes my eyes. If I must live separated from her, then let my life go to hell. I cannot continue to stay in a world with nothing more than memories of Sri Radha. So from these statements, we can see the inner thoughts of Krishna. We can see the inner hankerings of Krishna. We can see the inner feelings of Krishna. He wants to think of Radharani 24 hours. He wants to talk of Radharani 24 hours. She wants to experience Radharani's love 24 hours. So that's how dear Srimati Radharani is to Krishna. Next slide. Krishna feels intense separation from the Brajavasis. My sorrow is like a forest fire. It burns my body with its intolerable heat. Look, Madhu, my garland has wilted, and the sandalwood ointment on my body has dried up, heedless of my pain. Even the heat from the effulgence of the costaba jewel touches me. Oh Shaka, tell me how far is it to the cooling shade of Raj? So when Krishna is feeling the separation of the Brajabasis, he's speaking like this to his associates. He wants to go to Braj. He wants to go to Braj. Actually, it is said that Ratha Yatra is the manifestation of Krishna's desire to go back to Braj. When the pastimes of Krishna was narrated by Rohini to the queens, because the intensity had grown and grown and grown, the queens became very alert. They became very alarmed about the state of their husband. He is not sleeping. He is not eating. He is lamenting for Vrindavan, lamenting for the residents of Vrindavan, lamenting for Srimati Radharani. So they wanted to know what happened in Vrindavan. What is special about Vrindavan that this, our husband, is always crying about Vrindavan. He's always talking about Vrindavan. So they summoned Rohini because Rohini was there with them when Krishna was in Vrindavan. So they summoned Rohini to speak. And Subhadra was made the gatekeeper because it was said that if Krishna should hear these pastimes, then he will leave Dwaraka, he will go back to Vrindavan. So therefore, while they were speaking these pastimes, Krishna and Balaram were not allowed to hear these pastimes. So Subhadra was made the gatekeeper. He should not allow Krishna and Balaram inside the hall where this narration was going on. And Subhadra agreed. So Rukmini began to narrate these childhood pastimes of Krishna to the queens of Krishna in Dwaraka. Meanwhile, Krishna was at the Sabha, he was at the hall, his meeting place. But all of a sudden, he started feeling great intensity, great love for the Brijabasis. He started feeling he must go. He must hear something about Brijabasis. So he called Balaram and said, but where is Rukmini? Where are the queens? And they got to understand that the queens were hearing their pastimes, their childhood pastimes of Vrindavan. So Krishna said, we must go and hear these pastimes. But he knew what was going to happen. So he already sent Daruka that go arrange a chariot, because when we hear this pastime, we cannot stay here anymore. We'll go back to Vrindavan. So arrange a chariot, 3 chariots for us, one for myself, one for Balaram, and one for Subhadra. Once we hear these pastimes, we shall return to Vrindavan. So the Ratha Yatra is said to be Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra's return to Vrindavan, because Rukmini is describing the intimate, ecstatic relationship between Krishna and his devotees of Vrindavan, and Krishna and Balaram. They're hiding behind the windows and they're hearing the narration, even though Subhadra is standing on the gate and not to allow them in, but they were hiding. Their love for the Brahmanas increased and increased, and so they began to contract. That love, that intense love, made their bodies contract. And when Rukmini saw that, she also became affected, and their eyes became very big due to the love. So the forms of Jagannath is a contracted form of Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra, simply by hearing their childhood pastimes in Vrindavan being narrated by Rohini to the queens of Dwaraka. So he said that Ratha Yatra means Krishna's return to Vrindavan, Krishna's feeling of separation from the Brijabasis, and he wants to go back to Vrindavan. Next slide, Prabhu. Chandravali with a group is approaching a particular meeting place, while his beloved Srimati Radharani is coming with her groups, her friends, to an appointed meeting place to be united with Krishna. All the different groups represented together around Govardhan are assembling there. Santa, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, all are in his sight. He is overseeing everything. So very many affectionate servitors are all vying for his attention, but his eyes are always drawn to Srimati Radharani and her group. So there are many groups of servants and many relationships. Santa Ras, Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, Madhurya Ras. All of these different relationships are always vying for Krishna's attention. Even Chandravali, who is like an opposition leader to Srimati Radharani, she belongs to the left-hand gopis or the right-hand gopis. Krishna Radharani is the left-hand gopis, and Chandravali is the right-hand gopis. So Radharani, Chandravali is the group of the opposing party, and Radharani is the other group. But it is said here that despite all of this arrangement, Krishna's eyes are always on Srimati Radharani and her group. So that shows how dear Srimati Radharani is to Krishna, and that shows how dear the Kund, Radha Kund, is to Krishna. Next slide. I think a few more slides and then we shall finish. Srimati Radharani prays to Krishna. Srimati Radharani prays, you have captured my heart fully. Every atom of my body wants only you, but the circumstances are cruel that we are parted. So I will jump into that deep well, taking my life. I pray you will come and take my position, and I will take yours, oh Krishna. Oh, Sri Nandan Nandan, then you will realize what hopelessness I am going through and will understand my trouble. So when Krishna left Vrindavan, this was a mood of Srimati Radharani, 24 hours. Krishna is crying for Radharani, Radharani is crying for Krishna. That is the situation. So Radharani is saying here he will jump into a well. And actually, she jumped into the Yamuna. Radharani left the planet by drowning herself in the Yamuna. Of course, she didn't drown, but from the physical point of view, it was considered she drowned herself. Vishaka and Dalita, they had taken Radharani to the Yamuna to take a bath. And then Radharani saw a blue lotus in the Yamuna water. Immediately, the thoughts of Krishna came very strong over her. She felt, oh, Krishna is hiding from me now. He's now hiding in the water. Look at him. So he concluded that blue lotus is Krishna. And so she dove after the blue lotus. But it is said that was the arrangement how she left. Because the river Yamuna is the daughter of the sun god. Just as Yamaraj is the son of the sun god. Yamuna and Yamaraj are related. They are brother and sister. So when he dove into the Yamuna water to catch that lotus, blue lotus, which in her eyes was Krishna, she was taken by Yamuna to the sun god. Through the Yamuna, Radharani was transported to the sun god. And she took shelter there for some time before she was brought back to Krishna as Satyabhama. Some acharyas say Satyabhama is Radharani incarnate. When Radharani was carried by Yamuna to the sun god, and the sun god took shelter of her, took care of her, gave her shelter. Then later on, the sun god gave Satyajit the Samataka jewel. And when Krishna was defamed for that jewel, the brother of Satyajit, used to take the jewel and wait and go out roaming around, and he was killed. But because earlier on it was advised, Satyajit was advised to donate the jewel in Dwaraka to Krishna, to the king, he refused. So when his brother, I think his brother called Prashnina, when he was killed, speculation was that because Krishna wanted the jewel and Satyajit did not give, Krishna had planned to kill the brother and take the jewel. So there was rumor in Dwaraka. So Krishna has to find out where the jewel is. And it was with Jambavan in the cave. So Krishna has to go and fight with Jambavan, defeat Jambavan, and bring the jewel. And he got a wife, Jambavati. He got married to Jambavati, the daughter of Jambavan. But then when he brought the jewel to Satyajit, Satyajit was so ashamed that he gave the jewel back to Krishna, but Krishna didn't take it. And in order to pacify Krishna, he gave his daughter, Satyabhama, to Krishna. And that Satyabhama is said to be Radharani, who had taken shelter of the sun god. And the sun god, when he was giving the gold to Satyajit, he also gave him the daughter so that she will become Krishna's wife. So like that. That's what the acharyas say. So here Srimati Radharani is praying, you have captured my heart fully. Even every atom of my body wants only you. But the circumstances are so cruel that we are parted. So I will jump into the deep well, taking my life. So eventually, Radharani jumped into the Yamuna when he saw the blue lotus floating in the Yamuna river. Next slide. Glories of Srimati Radharani. Somebody like to read this?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please, I would
Hare
love
Krishna.
to please accept
Go
my
ahead.
most
Go
humble
ahead.
obeisances on this. Glories of
Gurudev,
Srimati
Gurudev,
Radharani. Radharani is the daughter of Sri Rasavanu, and Krishna is the son of the king of Vraja. Of all the gopis, she is the most beloved of Govinda, and he is Srimati Radhika's paramount. She is the heroine of all the forest boas, and he is the all-attractive hero. She is the brightest gem amongst the young village bellies of Vraja, and he is the best of all the young cowherd boys. She is the prince of Vrindavan, and he is the dashing prince regent. She is always enjoyed by Krishna, and he is the heartthrob of Srimati Radharani. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so this is just describing the intimate relationship that exists between Radha and Krishna. Radharani is the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and Krishna is the son of Nanda Maharaj, the king of Raj. Of all the gopis, she is the most beloved of Govinda. And he is Srimati Radhika's paramour. She is the heroine of all the forest boas. And he is the all-attractive hero. So Radharani is the heroine of all the girls who go to the forest to pick flowers and, perform all the pastimes. And Krishna is the hero. He's the hero. Nayakanam, Nayakanam, Nayakanam Ratna, Nayakanam Ratna, the verse. Krishna is the hero. Nayakanam is the hero of all heroes. Nayakanam Ratna. Nayakanam Shiro Ratnam. Nayakanam Shiro Ratnam. Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Yatra Nityataya Sarve Virajanti Mahaguna. Nayakanam Shiro Ratnam. Krishna is the supreme personality of God. He's a crown jewel. He's the crown jewel of all heroes. Krishna is the crown jewel of all heroes. And Radharani is the heroine. Radharani is the crown jewel of all heroines. So when the crown jewel of all heroes meets with the crown jewel of all heroines, then you can imagine the rapture of love that ensues between them. We cannot comprehend what is going on between Radha and Krishna. We cannot comprehend. Material affection, material love does not come close to the transcendental ecstasy, transcendental bliss, transcendental joy that they experience in each other's association. We cannot imagine. And so long as we are still within the grip of Maya, we're still within the grip of lust, we cannot perceive, we cannot understand what is going on between Radha and Krishna. Yet, by hearing these things, they will purify us of the disease of the heart, Hridaya Roga. Hridaya Roga is the disease of the heart, lust. The only way to overcome lust is to hear these pastimes of Radha and Krishna. They will cure the disease of the heart. Next slide. Next slide. Our Srila Prabhupada and Radharani Bhakti. Srimati Radharani, her own Sri Radhakund, were Srila Prabhupada's life and soul. He used to become overwhelmed with loving sentiments whenever he described the glories of Srimati Radharani and her merciful nature. The collection of verses called Radha Rasa Sundanidhi by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. I still remember how Srila Prabhupada's voice would choke in loving ecstasy, and his eyes would become tearful as he was reciting verses from that holy book. So there is a collection of poems written by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. It's called Radha Rasa Sundanidhi. Srila Prabhupada loved to read those poems. Anytime he read those poems, you see his eyes will be wet with tears. Of course, we know the story that Gaur Mohande, the father of Srila Prabhupada, she was a great Vaishnava. And so many people used to come, many sadhus used to come to his house. He was very charitable. He would feed them very nicely. He would give them some dashina. So many sadhus were always coming and going. And any sadhu that would come home, he would ask them to bless Prabhupada so that he can be a devotee of Srimati Radharani. So many sadhus who came to their house, Gaur Mahande requested those sadhus to bless his son, Abhaya Charan, that he might become a great devotee of Srimati Radharani. And so it's not surprising that Srila Prabhupada became such a dear devotee of Srimati Radharani. Next slide. Krishna is Radharani's property. I pray that my heart may be able to see the moon of Krishna's face to its full satisfaction. The moon of Krishna's face has a splendid forehead, which is kissed by the gallant of curling locks of hair of Radharani, who is decorated with red sindura and ornamented with streams of perspiration generated from her fierce amorous combat. Krishna's moonlight face has lips like two bimba fruits, whose glories are proclaimed by the marks left there by the teeth of young Radharani. So these are very intimate expressions, intimate exchanges between Srimati Radharani and Krishna. They are far beyond material understanding. Only a pure-hearted devotee can go into these pastimes, drink the nectar from there. A neophyte devotee will only see lust. And a neophyte devotee will bring this knowledge or this information to his level of material lust. But Krishna is far beyond lust. Radharani is far beyond lust. Prabhupada said that when Krishna was dancing with the gopis, he was just a young boy, 5, 6, 7-year-old boy. There is no lust in a 5-year-old boy. There is no lust in a 7-year-old boy. Lust begins to develop when one is 16, when becomes a teenager. In the teenage years, the lust begin to develop. So, but when Krishna was dancing with the gopis, he was just a small boy. So there's no question of lust. It was entirely a spiritual venture. It was a spiritual activity, far beyond material lust. But to understand this science, we have to become free from material, mundane lust. Otherwise, we would juxtapose. We would think that what is being described is the same thing we are experiencing in the material world. So we will juxtapose our material experience on the spiritual relationships, on the spiritual experiences. Next slide. And we're almost at the end. Next slide. The Krishna's flute song that's deeply inspired the devotees to embrace an artist servitor and a divine service concept of his eternal consort, Srimati Radharani, through harmonious service platform. The innermost meaning of this flute sung from all devotees is Radha Padam Dimahi, which means to wholeheartedly embrace and engage yourself in the service of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani with all devotional love. The highest and innermost instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Padam Dimahi. Radha Padam Dimahi means to wholeheartedly embrace and engage oneself in the service of Srimati Radharani. So that is the meaning of Krishna's flute music, his flute song, that everyone should take shelter of devotional service and the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, and that is Radha Padamti Mahi. Next slide. Getting the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Taking the ankle bell in her hand, Lalita Sundari quickly placed it to Goswami's head, saying, "Let the touch of Sri Radhika's feet be on your head." Again, she touched the ankle bell to his forehead. Suddenly, 2 vertical lines appeared on his forehead, and from the touch of the pinnacle of the ankle bell, a dot appeared in the middle of the tilak. So this is a very, very special pastime that took place with Shyamananda Goswami. Shyamananda, he was initially called Dukkha Krishna, Dukkha Krishna. And his Guru Maharaj sent him from Bengal to go and learn under Jiva Goswami in Vrindavan. And because Dukkha Krishna was such a wonderful devotee, he was such a loving devotee, very loyal, very submissive devotee. He served Jiva Goswami so nicely that Radharani became pleased with Dukkha Krishna and decided to bless him. So he left her ankle bell in a Rasastali. There is a particular place Jiva Goswami had asked this boy, Dukkha Krishna, to clean every day. So Dukkha Krishna will go and sweep the place every day. So, and because he was doing such nice service to Jiva Goswami, he was so loyal, he was so serviceable, he was so submissive. Whatever Jiva Goswami wanted, Dukkha Krishna would do. He was such a nice devotee. Radharani was observing this, and Radharani decided to bless him. So where he goes to sweep every day, Radharani left her ankle bell there. So when this boy was sweeping one morning, he saw a beautiful ankle bell, a golden ankle bell. And when he touched the ankle bell, he got a vibration, he got a shock. It was transcendentally charged. So he immediately understood this belongs to an exalted person. So let me keep it nicely. He tied it in his dhoti so that if the fellow comes to ask for it, he can give it. So as he was cleaning, then an old lady appeared and said, "Hey, you are sweeping here. Did you see an ankle bell? My daughter was playing here. My granddaughter was playing here, and the ankle bell dropped. Did you see it?" I said, "Yes, I found some ankle bell. It's for your granddaughter." I said, "Yes." I said, "Can you give it to me?" I said, "Well, before I give it to you, I want your identity, because if I give it to you and somebody else comes, I can direct the person to you. So please reveal your identity to me. Show me where you live. And when I know where you live, I will give you the ankle bell." This old lady was no other person than Lalita. Lalita was sent by Srimati Radharani to come and bless Dukkha Krishna. So she took the form of an old lady. So when Dukkha Krishna challenged her, "Show me your house, tell me where you live, only then can I give you this ankle bell." So Lalita was put in a very tight corner because she doesn't have any house in the material world. She's coming from the spiritual sky. So how is she going to get herself free from this? So she has to reveal herself. It says, "Actually, I am Lalita. I've been sent by Radharani." And Dukkha Krishna said, "What are you talking? Lalita is not an old lady. Lalita is a young girl, 16-year-old girl. You are an old lady telling me you're Lalita. You can't deceive me. I know who Lalita is. You can't deceive me. If you say you're Lalita, show me your original form." And so Lalita was forced to show Dukkha Krishna his original form. And when he did that, then Dukkha Krishna released the ankle bell. But then Radharani had asked Lalita to give him a special tilak on his forehead and change his name from Dukkha Krishna to Shyamananda. So his name was changed. Radharani personally initiated Dukkha Krishna. His name was changed to Shyamananda, and he made an indelible tilak mark on his forehead with the ankle bell, a golden tilak on his forehead. That cannot be robbed. And he said, "Don't tell anybody this. Only Jiva Goswami you can tell." So of course, it's a long story. So, but this is When we render service to exalted Vaishnavas, we render service to the spiritual master. Radharani is watching, Radharani is monitoring. And if he's pleased with your service, he will bless you. So that is what happened to Dukkha Krishna. Under the order of his spiritual master, he was serving Jiva Goswami in Vrindavan. And he was serving so nicely that Radharani was attracted. And now Radharani has given him a special mark, special tilak mark, and Radharani has changed his name from Dukkha Krishna to Shyamananda. Next slide, Prabhu. Next slide, so we finish up. Looks like, okay. The only name, the only remedy in this age. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai that Nam Sankirtan is the only way to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. Nam Sankirtan destroys all evils and vices and brings happiness in the minds of all. Sankirtan destroys sin and emerges one in the ocean of love and devotion to Krishna. When sorrows and distress try to occupy the mind, the only remedy is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. What is the last slide? Is there another slide beyond this? What is the last slide? There's the last. Okay, so this is the last slide. Yeah, so actually we can get Radharani's mercy by chanting the holy name. The holy name comprises of both Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Actually, we cannot approach Krishna without approaching Radharani. So the holy name begins with Radharani's name. Hare is Radharani's name. Hara is the Radharani's name. Hara. But in the vocative is Hare. So when we say Hare Krishna, Hare stands for Radharani and Krishna stands for Krishna. So even in the chanting of the holy name, we first approach Srimati Radharani and beg her mercy, beg her permission to approach Krishna. So even in our daily activity that we are performing of chanting japa, we are approaching Srimati Radharani and we are seeking her blessings to please Krishna. So we cannot render devotional service without Radharani's mercy. So we must understand how dear Radharani is to Krishna, that you cannot approach Krishna without Radharani. That we must understand. Yeah, and so Radharani is so dear to Krishna, and so is her Kunt also. So that brings us to the end of Nectar of Instruction. And so I have the essay questions here. There are 7 questions in the book I have. And I don't know, I think, how many essays do we write? 1 or 2?
I'm not sure. The Tantamount will be the best.
And best person. Okay. But it's not on the platform now.
Yeah, it's not here. Most of the students also are not even here.
It's not here. So anyway, what I'll do is that there are 7. I'll just read through all the 7. And probably we can choose 2 so that when you get in touch with him, we see whether we have to write 1 or 2. If we have to write the 2, then we write the 2. If we have to write 1, then we can select from the 2. So the first question says, discuss the importance of controlling the 6 urges as described in Sri Upadeshamrita text 1, What practical steps are you taking to control these 6 urges? Give appropriate reference to Sri Upadeshamrita text 1, verse and purport in your response. This is personal application. Then 2, explain the importance of avoiding atyahara and prayascha in one's practices of devotional service. How can you avoid these tendencies? Give appropriate reference to Sri Upadeshamrita text 2, verse, purport, and your response. This is also personal application. Then question 3, describe the importance of associating with devotees and avoiding the association of non-devotees in the practice of devotional service with reference to Sri Upadeshamrita text 2 and 3, verses and purport. This is understanding. 4, discuss the challenges you are facing in developing enthusiasm and confidence in your practice of devotional service. What steps are you taking to overcome these challenges? Give appropriate reference to Sri Upadeshamrita text 3 in your response. This is also personal application. 5, discuss ways in which we can overcome the challenges ISKCON faces in facing the 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. Give reference to Sri Upadeshamrita text 4 and purport in your response. This is personal application. 6, in your own words, describe the appropriate attitudes towards Vaishnavas and discuss the consequences of inappropriate attitudes with reference to Sri Upadeshamrita, text 6 and purport, personal application. And then 7, discuss in your own words the importance of Radha Kund for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. What is Srila Prabhupada's attitude towards bathing and residing at Radha Kund? Give reference to Sri Upadeshamrita, text 9 to 11, verses and purports and Prabhupada's lectures on the topic in your response. So I'm thinking that we'll take one personal application and maybe one mood and mission. So I'm thinking on number 5 and number 7. Number 5 says, discuss ways in which we can overcome the challenges ISKCON faces in facilitating the 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. Give references to Sri Upadeshamrita text 4 and in the purport in your answer. So the 6 loving exchanges, what are the challenges that ISKCON is facing? Because these are day-to-day challenges, day-to-day experiences. So I'm thinking we can take 5 and 7. So if we are to answer only one, if you clarify from Chaitanya Prem and we are to answer one, then I will say you have a choice. You can answer 5 or 7. You have a choice. So that is what I will want us to do. So if there are any questions or comments, you are welcome. If there are none, then we have come to the end of Sri Upadeshamrita, and then we'll bring the class to a close. Since today is Sunday, there are many activities going on, and we have to be part of it.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness, Srivas Vanacari, for your time, patience, and austerity. We cannot be grateful enough on behalf of the Bhaktivedanta Academy for Culture and Education. We wish you more Guru and Krishna's grace and wisdom to continue in the service. We thank you so, so much. And then we pray that Guru and Krishna will continue to be with you. Dear devotees, unfortunately, we're still going to be, anyway, in the next section when we start to enroll new students for the next class, we'll have a lot of consideration to make because the attitude of students is very, very unbecoming. So But in any way, we thank you for being here. Dear students, please kindly unmute. Let us loudly chant the Hare Krishna, full Hare Krishna mantra to appreciate people for Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. Avancha kalpataru vyascha kripa tinini vacha parijana pavinamya namo.